Artless Nap.
Yes, welcome to Artless Nap, episode 2. I have back with me Mary.
Hi.
Donnelly. I learned your last name.
Anthony Pego. Thank you so much.
Stop bragging. I'm not one of those people who can repeat names again and again to learn it.
I understand the struggle. It's a real hard one.
Yeah. It's not that I dislike people. I'm not, I love people.
Faces are much better.
Yeah, that's true. Yesterday, she came on the first episode, and we talked about monkey selfie copyright and some foraging issues. I made too light of it, I think. I feel guilty for making all the orange tree jokes when we could have filled time with real information for the people. But
I feel like that's pretty real information.
Okay.
I was enlightened by it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you came over and helped me work on some SEO marketing back-end stuff.
Right.
I'm an old school programmer. I learned HTML when it first started.
Yeah.
And I'm very proficient, but things have changed. And
yeah, you don't need any of it anymore.
Don't tell me that. Sometimes I like to click over to the text view when I'm editing in WordPress.
That's exactly what you were doing.
Yeah, I know. You caught me doing it. It's a little nerd masturbatory kind of thing where you're just like, I understand. I can read the internet. That's the way I feel. And this SEO stuff is like another fucking language I have to learn.
It's so simple, though. Well, it's like, once you, get it, you realize just how dumb it is. How so, point A to B it is.
It does remind me of, when you get a job, or I don't know about you, but I did have service industry jobs, and they teach you in the first week. You go through the training in the first few days or whatever, the menu items and stuff, so you can sell it to everybody. It's just that there's that initial memorization thing where you're like, okay, you have to throw these words in this place and memorize what's trending, or figure out how to find what's trending, and
right,
and then go for it, and then it's your job to sell it, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what products did we?
Well, we did a test search on headphones.
Yeah, gaming headphones.
Yeah, so we found an affiliate link that we have to apply for in a way that they have to approve it. It's not automatic, you get in that hour.
Yeah.
So it's a manual approval process, and after that, then you get a percent of the commissions from the links that your customers click within the amount of cookie days. And that's what a cookie is how many days from that link was it clicked.
Gotcha.
So a lot of people don't realize what cookies are, but that's what it is. And it's not a bad thing.
Used proproperly, like anything else.
Yeah, used properly.
I don't know what we're going to hawk on this show. I'm excited to find out. I'm actually interested in seeing what people respond to just with conversation. I mentioned something off the cuff and somebody emails me nope, that's not correct. I happen to know a lot about that information, and and I want that. I want you guys to correct me and stuff.
Totally.
But,
bring it on.
I'm going to learn a lot more about my world and the products, and then I'll be like, okay, well, this seems to be a big deal, so let's hawk this one. So I'm excited to see what comes of it. I'm not going to push. I'm not looking to build a list of best books or, best kitchen products or.
I'm such a utilitarian. I really just want to know things that are going to make my life better.
Yeah. And outside of products, what do you think makes your life better?
Gardening.
Gardening
sure.
does. Yeah,
yes.
Me too.
Gardening is amazing. The interconnectivity and the internet, just being able to produce on such a high level is amazing at this point in time. In the past 10 years, we've surpassed the innovation ability for the common person immensely. Like, it's amazing. People can, like, manufacture their ideas and put them out there in ways that humankind never has been able to.
Along those lines, one of the things that people are doing that astounds me, like breaks my brain, is they're doing a lot of different kinds of 3D printing. There's like, that's additive. There's like subtractive, which is like the CNC, drill where you take away things from the material. And then there's the additive, which is like the 3D printing. And we're just getting good at this. But we're getting really good, really stupid fast. At first it was just kind of like dripping hot wax on things to build things up. And now we're getting to the point where we're shooting lasers together at a fine point with a little substrate, and it builds this thing, and you pull out of liquid. It's like some Terminator, type shit. It's incredible. But people are building like tools that you couldn't. I mean, they're not super useful because a lot of those materials like degrade really quickly. But it's concept stuff, So they'll build tools that like you couldn't build in the real world.
One cool thing about that is that they're like in this space shuttles, they've been able to send like just email the tool up there, and then they 3D print it in the spaceship, and then that's like exactly what they need.
That reminds me of I guess that is it Apollo 13 where they have the issue up there, and they pull all of the materials they have up there and put it in a room on Earth, and they're like, they get the brightest engineers on it. They're like, how do we fix this? How do we scrub the air so they can breathe a little longer? Right. It's interesting. That whole crowdsourcing thought thing on the internet, it's weird to see. Our teacher said, you'll never have a calculator in your pocket when you want it or need it or whatever. Like, well, we have more than that. We have computers that the Space Shuttle didn't have when it went up. But not only that, we have the crowdsourcing ability to like build tools or ideas or whatever.
Lists.
Yeah, lists. That's mostly what we do with the internet. My top 5 interesting ideas. Yeah. What are some business ideas you've run across that you wanted to do and never really?
One that I did but didn't push, and that's just sitting there. It's not doing anything. Is coloring cloth.
Coloring cloths, like a comic book or a coloring book, but it's cloth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shirts and clothes and pillows.
So this seems to me like for the people who are jealous of people who have had casts, like they break their limbs a lot, They're like, I'd never get to do that. And they're like, well, now you can. People.
That's a good market.
I don't know how big that market is. Are you jealous of people who break their arms? Right. Are you tired of the attention they get?
You find common things that those people have, and then you get in that way.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, you do studies and market research and focus groups. I love focus groups. Oh my gosh.
This might be
a bunch of random people in a room and asking them all questions.
Yeah, I think the research I do, this is where I'm going wrong with my business model. My market research primarily consists of reading all of the hateful messages, commented off of posts on the internet. And I'm like, oh, this is what they're into. And I make products based on that knowledge.
Right. So there's a major flaw in that. Those people are haters, and haters don't really have a whole lot going for them, so they don't have
Yeah, but they're sitting there, click, 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 click.
Are they buying things?
Yeah, probably not. Right. Yeah, that's true.
Do they have money?
That's okay. That's where we're going. I'm selling out. I'm going to definitely sell out. It's time. I'll be 40 in 3/4 of a year or so, and so yeah, I don't think I'll get faulted by all my old high school buddies or childhood friends. I think rock and roll is going to bed early, so
Yeah.
Did you have your rock and roll phase? Did you go crazy and decide you'd adult up?
With rock and roll?
No, with life in general. Did you go nuts, party and throw, was it caution to the wind? I don't know what that phrase is. Yeah, and then just kind of one day go, I like going to bed earlier, or...
Well, okay, so I learned an interesting statistic on this recently, but my deal is that alcohol makes me ill, like much more immediately than most people.
Oh.
Yeah. And so I just like had to start avoiding it. And like I have one drink. If I have a drink in a day, that's enough for me. You know, I don't want to get sick. So I heard this interesting thing where all of these alcohol related studies are comparing like two test groups. One that is alcohol consumers and the other are abstainers. So those have been the test groups in all these medical studies and things.
Right.
Well, new evidence revelation has shown, I don't know if you need this out, I don't know if I can say things like this, but has shown that like the abstainers are actually abstaining because their life was threatened at some point in time because of the amounts of alcohol that they were consuming. So like their bodies are much worse off to begin with than the people who are consuming a couple drinks a day or 5 drinks a day or 10 drinks a week or whatever.
Yeah.
So
it's going to skew the data quite a bit. Yeah.
So modern research is looking at people like me who just don't drink because of health reasons.
Sure.
And, you know, and then I would hope that there's more people outside of those 3 test groups that don't drink. Like, there's probably like religious non-drinkers.
Absolutely.
Or just sober people. I've actually noticed that that's a cool thing now. Like it was kind of a thing when I was in high school. Like I saw
straight edge and stuff.
Yeah, straight edge. That's what it was. But like just sober is a thing now.
Yep.
It's like a big thing that like in high school I couldn't get away with not drinking.
Sure.
I couldn't.
Yeah.
It sucked because I got sick all the time.
Right, but like when you were that age, if somebody like transported back from the future and they were holding a tablet and you're like, you're clearly from the future, and they were like, listen, everybody in the future is gonna have tattoos. They're all covered with tattoos, and people don't drink anymore. What would you think?
I think I was just so young that it wouldn't have
mattered.
Yeah, you know? But like probably tell my parents that and they wouldn't have believed it.
Yeah, no, they'd have been like, she's definitely on drugs. Now it's time to take her to a rehab facility.
Right. Yeah. It's amazing. It's like the one thing that like the super wealthy and the super poor do.
Right. Yep.
Everyone does it.
Yeah. Well, I've been, I guess they still drink, but I've been to a lot of cool cities like Austin and San Diego where the moment you park and get out, you just notice everybody's like jogging their kids with strollers, riding their bikes, walking. Everybody's outside being healthy. And I'm sure that subtracts from the level of drinking that they do instead of just being shut away in a box in like a colder state or a windy state or whatever, the hot one.
Right.
Louisiana, man, New Orleans. I can understand. I was there for a couple of years. I can understand why they sit inside and drink. It's stupid hot and it's sticky.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why it's hard to have volunteers for the urban garden because people are always hungover at 9 a.m. on Saturday mornings.
Nice.
Yeah, like it's really hard to keep volunteers. So I'm changing that. Like I inherited the leadership position there and I'm changing some things in this transition where we're actually moving the garden from one lot to another. So we're going to make new signs that have like a URL with updated the volunteer. It'll just be whenever we plan it.
No domain yet? You haven't bought the URL or anything?
No.
No? Yeah,
no, and we could do it with websites that I already own, or we don't even have to have a website.
Yeah.
You know.
So you were talking about the garden stuff yesterday and compost and everything. You mentioned the word worms earlier.
Yes.
And I mean, I
worms.
love worms. I remember fishing and sticking them on hooks. I didn't particularly enjoy the process. It was just, I cared for everything, I guess. Sometimes I was an asshole like anybody else. But, it grossed me out because they were alive and I was impaling it.
It's like a trade.
Yeah.
The universe.
Yeah.
I'll trade you a worm for a fish.
It really is. So you seem to have worms. Is this the thing?
Yeah. I do. I really do.
What?
So, we have one of the only Whole Foods here in Oklahoma City that composts locally.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty awesome. Our organization has a trailer that picks food up from Whole Foods every morning except for Sundays. And then a team of volunteers assembles and deals with it, puts it into a compost pile every day.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. It's been going on since day one. And I took it on in my backyard for I think like 20 days now, around there. And when I first started this, I was just looking on Craigslist and I had already bought like a little bag of worms.
Yeah.
I bought like 1,000 worms and it was like this much.
Oh my god.
But they were all like dehydrated.
Oh no, poor guys, what? Like been laying out on the sidewalk in the summer. You're like, no, crawl home, you're almost there. It's just a few inches.
So I got on Craigslist and looked for worms. Found 20,000.
Oh my god.
17 like 3.5 gallon buckets. So I got the company van, went down like South Oklahoma. Picked them up. Took them home.
And so, do you
and
name
I've been
them?
farming them ever since.
Yeah?
Yeah.
They have names? Do they have children?
No, yeah, they have babies.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's really exciting to find worm babies because that's like the telltale that they're happy in their environment.
That makes sense, too.
That they're surviving well.
Yeah. So you dump them into the soil occasionally, or they just stay in a soil box, or like how do you farm worms?
Right.
They're in bed with you?
Me personally, they're not in my house.
Okay.
I took these worms from a home situation. And I left them outside all summer and all winter, and they're doing great.
So you're a saint.
Yeah, I guess so. Maybe.
I'll
Worms
push
are
for
angels.
It. Was it the beautification?
I bought a domain called Angel Dirt.
Angel Dirt.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you should totally make this. I'm in for bending the truth a bit and saying they're holier worms than usual. Maybe you grew them with the words of, I don't know, what pastor is
The
like.
ashes of saints.
You
I
could
fed them the ashes of saints.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't know.
Like
you
the
might get sued at
relics.
that point.
Like I threw bones of relics.
Yeah. I can't remember what those are called, but like they would rub the bones, or they would parade them around town and say they healed people.
Worms totally eat bones.
Oh, do they really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. Mm-hmm. Oh my god. They would truly take on these miracle. You could have little miracle worms. In fact, you would have to logically, because some saints, have been buried and like the worms have found them.
So where
at
can
least
I
a
get
few.
some relics?
Yeah, some relics. That's what they're called. Yeah, I don't know, but there's got to be little relic worms that like are imbued with these magical saint powers because they take on.
Because I ate them.
Right. I mean,
first of all, you would have to prove that like eating relics would embody.
I mean, that just goes to show how little we care about the world around us, that we're not noticing these tiny little miracles that are clearly happening.
Worms are miracles. They are so prolific and they can survive. They can like still live through drought and being frozen in water in a bucket.
What? This sounds very specific.
They like only die of old age and then they eat each other.
They only die of old age and they eat each other.
Yeah, you can chop them in half and they're fine.
Yeah, I've seen that happen. But they eat each other?
Yeah, because it's just so nutritious. They ate everything that's organic and dead. They don't eat anything that's alive.
They're real garbage disposals.
Yes.
So what's their poop? Is it nitrate-y? What's the benefit?
It's like the perfect pH compost.
Oh. Mm-hmm. So if you had a bucket full of it, it would just grow everything beautifully?
Yes.
Oh, that's cool. I had no idea.
It's good.
Well, I'll try not to impale anymore. There's all those artificial lures that you can buy, and maybe I'll learn how to fly fish and just make my own. Spend a few years figuring that out first.
My sailing boss for 15 years teaches a class at Backwoods on how to tie
no
those. Yeah,
so I can just go downtown.
I can hook you up. Yeah.
I should try that.
Yeah.
Is it expensive?
No, I can get you in. It's
okay,
cool. Yeah.
I'll go.
Yeah.
I will straight up go.
You can go.
And I'll report back on it on the podcast.
Okay, cool.
All right, well, let's take a short break. We will be back in a few moments, folks. We appreciate you hanging out.
Welcome to Artless now.
Yes, indeed. Welcome back to the second half of Artless Nap. I am still here with Marie Donnelly. I'm going to take off these cans and see how well that works out for me. So we were talking about worms and all sorts of fun stuff.
Oh, yeah, we had fun on that break.
Yeah, we really did.
Yeah.
So they eat each other, and I'm going to get some from my garden.
And your lawn.
Yeah, and my lawn. My lawn is a mess. It floods all the time. It's like made out of clay. It's horrible. It's got a pecan tree we talked about.
Well, it doesn't look like it's holding a lot of water right now, and it rained this morning. It looks pretty good to me.
You like it?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. You won't drown the worms.
Should I not talk negative to it? Should I encourage it?
Yes.
Be more positive?
Absolutely. 100% do that.
We were talking about, like, I'm worried about the pecan tree. I think it's killing my grass, but I don't know. I don't know anything about this stuff. I'm not a botanist. But we're talking about grafting plants on plants out there.
On plants.
So my experience with that is, or not my experience, but what I've read about, or I think I watched a documentary or something. But there was a fungus or a mold or a vine killer thing for a lot of the wine plants in the world, and California, I think, had a resistant strain, and we sent it to France to help them preserve a lot of their stuff. They had to like graft them on to the base, because the base was the part that would like get eaten up or whatever. And so we sent them good bases, and then they grafted on their old plants that were growing mature, you know.
I heard that for Champagne, France, about Missouri. Missouri, I didn't hear the grafting part. I just heard that Champagne, France, they just lost all their grapes and got grapes from Missouri.
Yeah. Well, from what I heard, it was
all of France.
It was a global epidemic. Like
probably.
Like wine was going to no longer be the same anymore. You know.
Yeah.
We'll have to look that up. So you do a lot of cool stuff. You mentioned, we were talking about colloidal silver. I think I got that right.
Really colloidal metal.
Colloidal metal.
So a colloid is a nanoparticle. Mm-hmm. And colloidal silver is nanoparticles of whatever metal dispersed in water, distilled water, or just water with 0 parts in it. Yeah. Like pure. And so you count it by parts per million. Okay. Yeah, so
is this one of those electrolysis things where you
it's electric anodes.
Diode anode.
Yeah, 2 of them that are like this.
Apply current, make that shit fall to the ground, and then you get like
and there's 2 silver rods that are electrically charged. It's a pretty simple process. Yeah, and then there's a stirrer.
And what do you do with the stirrer?
It just stirs.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and then mine switches back and forth. It changes the positive and negative regularly, so that because one of them breaks down the silver faster.
Yeah.
So
You should hook that up to some like pop music or classical. Just do a little test and see if it works better with like music changing the,
interesting. If
Give
the
it a beat.
BPM gets higher
Yeah.
with classical music.
Sure.
Okay.
Report back.
Cool.
You
Yeah.
never know.
Okay. Will do. Start running those experiments.
So you don't just build stuff, physically. We were talking about your website yesterday, and I guess I more wanted to talk about myself because this is my show. So
Okay.
it's
Well,
all
I
about
made a
me.
website to sell my silver on. It's the
did you really?
Yeah, the colloidalsolution.com.
Did you really?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, the colloidalsolution.com.
And so what was your packaging like?
It is the element of whatever metal that is on a square on a blue bottle.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And then my name and like the element is changed up to be my logo. It has all my information on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Crafty.
Yeah.
And you did that in, what'd you do that in? Did you do it by?
Photoshop.
Okay, Photoshop. Yeah. So we were talking earlier about I was talking about how it's a pain in the ass to kind of start up a website. You have to pull together the logo and make the titles right and build the pages out.
And that's what I love. I love branding, and like it's all filling out forms, and I'm good at that.
Yeah, that's why I don't like it.
like I got into it so hard because I realized, oh, this is just like school.
Right.
Like I was good at that part of school. The test taking, like I liked that part, like filling out forms basically and writing. I haven't written enough, in my opinion, but I am my own worst critic.
Are you?
As we all are.
Does that mean you're working on a book?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I've written books.
Yeah. So what are they?
I've actually been self-publishing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What's your general platform? Is it like Amazon or something?
No, just download ebooks off my website.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. Like giving to the world. That's freeware. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So tell me what they're about.
Oh, I have one about Googling.
About Google.
Yeah. And I have one about GoPros.
GoPros.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have one about quadcopters, racing them.
Wait, you do that?
Yes. No, but I have a book about it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that makes
Did a lot of research and wrote about it.
Oh, okay.
And you know what? I was pretty straightforward in the book that I don't do that.
Here's a bunch of knowledge.
Yeah, but I put it all out there, and like I just hadn't found anything that was as compiled as that.
Yeah.
It's an amateur book. It's an amateur website.
Right.
It's all for fun.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you having the scientific method behind your knowledge base, I assume you wouldn't just pull shit out of your ass. You'd be doing, getting knowledge that way from somebody who has just researched it. That's a perfectly valid way to learn something, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I link to a lot of different places. I'm like I cite all my sources, and I'm like, look at this. Like, look at what this dude over there is doing.
Now, have you gone out to see them do that?
Oh, I wish.
Oh no.
No, I haven't.
You gotta do this. This has
I know.
gotta
I
be a
really
thing.
need to. Yeah.
You should film it and make some content. And
Yeah, I should. Totally.
Highlight it,
I mean, I need to just start. I need to race too. Like, I need to actually do it.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know why I'd go out unless I was going to crash somebody's super expensive flying.
Right. But like, so so my problem there was I did run into that problem where I'm not like a racer, like a quadcopter racer. So that website's just been sitting there like that. I just kind of threw it together. Like I focused on it for a little bit, like learned about that, published a book, and then did it. And then just kind of like left it, and it's sitting there, and it's doing its thing, and it's cool. But like,
I've done that to a lot of websites.
Yeah, it's kind of fun.
I had Bling with 2 E's.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what it is now. I'm sorry if that's something awful these days.
It's probably
but,
for sale for like $10,000.
I don't know. It's misspelled, not in a clever way.
That's okay. Websites that have already been owned at one point in time are all worth more.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, the rarity or the desirability of them.
It's
already
it's just
entered the market.
like It's just like someone liked this at one point in time. Maybe someone's gonna want it again.
So there's like a little graveyard where people look up like passed away URLs.
Oh yeah.
Really?
I love that website.
Oh yeah? It's like going through the obituaries in the back of the newspaper.
Yeah, but they're available.
The obituaries or the URLs. So you can sit there and buy. Oh, so it's okay. That's a good market. You got things that are definitely for sale, and if you push it, you can make money on it. Yeah, I can. So data collection and then make money off of the sales.
Yeah, and then there's Flippa.
Flippa,
where you can sell websites.
Okay,
it's pretty cool. It's like a
I thought domain squatting was not okay. I thought we strung up and hung domain squatters.
It's like eBay for URLs and websites.
Okay, so you're not trying to extort some big company. You just have a cool one, and you're like, hey, I think somebody wants this, and you sell it. All right.
I think they have rules. They're pretty legit.
Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, I guess I just know I've never been like super business minded. I don't know why these things didn't occur to all of us back in the 90s when we were. I mean, they were so cheap, and we were just like, cool. I can have my name as a URL and. Did it, and I bought a few things that were funny, but
but you didn't take it to the next level.
No, I didn't. Yeah, I should have done a little thinking.
Yeah, that's why I got into it. I had people telling me that I could.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I had a lot of influence.
So instead of people saying like you are funny, they're like you'd be super good at buying domains and reselling them and making business ideas and writing books.
Right,
help people navigate the tech world.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. All right. Well, so are you going to give up or sell this live in OK?
Oh no! I already turned down an offer.
Did you really? Was it offensive?
No, it was just a little awkward though.
Oh yeah. I mean, is this somebody you knew before and they were? No. Somebody just kind of approached you. Or were they random? You've never heard of them? Was it a mystery person?
I knew about them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm just picturing, somebody's trying to buy you off because you're getting too loud out there, Missy,
Yeah, no. It was kind of a weird deal. Like,
okay.
Yeah, like a friend linked us up, and so we were both kind of just like in it, like because of this other person, and so like we were just like doing what our friends told us to do, but like taking it seriously, and they actually made an offer.
Okay.
And I was like,
the whole thing sounds like they set you up on a date.
We were set up on a date, basically.
Did they set you up for a business date or both? Was it both
total,
business date and
total business date.
Okay,
yeah,
total business date.
Yeah, we had a full meeting, all the above,
Was it a round table or a square table? Were you at the head?
Oh, it was a huge table.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Were you at the head, just sitting there like,
No, I try not to sit at the head of tables.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Sit on the floor?
Sure. Yeah. That table was taking up too much room. There wasn't very much floor space for 3 people.
Yeah, it's distracting. People want to pick up their phones. They know they can't. You feel constrained. Right.
We were really far away from each other. Like, there was 2 guys on the other side, the owner of the business and then the marketing director.
See, I don't like it. I don't like any of that.
And then it was me.
Yeah.
On the other side.
No. I'd rather have somebody come to my porch and have tea and,
right.
discuss, like, so you want this? Like, what?
Yeah.
Well, what are you thinking? You want to throw something out there? Or do you want me to throw a softball and see if you swing at it? Yeah, no, I am glad to be getting out of the meeting world because my family owns a business that I worked for, and I still work for them, but it's on a need and specific basis that I'm, with my strengths. Right. I'm not like a manager anymore or anything. Yeah. But I solved an emergency today. It felt pretty good. There was a flood, and I hadn't seen these people in so long, so it was really nice, to do that. But we, I forgot where I was going with this. You're not giving up your website. Oh, the meetings. I would be in so many meetings with as a manager of this company, it was all meetings. All day, every day was meetings. No, I don't want it. Yeah. And sometimes it was like you're describing, big group meetings with all the contractors and going over all the rules, regularly happening. Right. So
so much.
I hate it. I know it's important to coordinate. You got to make the machine work smoothly and everything, but man.
It's a really well-run company.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, it's a lot to keep up with, but, the way that it's been running for so long, it's, just kind of it's organic at this point because it's a well-oiled machine.
Yeah. So are you still working on design? Are you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Over the past year and a half since I got back into web development, I have been making the designs for a lot of these brands that I've developed. Mm-hmm. I've just been branding. Like, that's like what I love to do. And I've just been branding, like, I've probably branded at least like 15 brands in the past year of my own, like.
If I had
if
I had the funding,
not drinking really helps.
No, I'm sure you get a lot done. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wake up on time, go to bed on time,
stay up all night.
Yeah, we'll stay up all night too. Yeah. If I had the funding, or if somebody wants to donate it, we need to get you a jacket that has all of your different brands, like you're a race car driver. You're sponsored. Awesome. Just all your sponsorship shit.
Yeah.
Just walk around parties. Get all that shit on camera. Oh, on the podcast. Yeah.
Yes. Love it.
Yeah. So what else were we chatting out there about?
Well, we were talking about Live and OK, which is the website that, looking back, if I were to just choose one website to go with, it would be this one. Mm-hmm. It's really why I got into web developing again, because I wanted this to exist for a long time.
Right.
Like, I've dreamt about this. I've hired people to do this in the past, and like this time I just decided to do it myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want something done right? Yeah,
you just do it yourself. So there's that motivation, and maybe a question that you've already asked, how I got into that, I can't remember. But it's all the events in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
It's a calendar. It's really simple. A little too simple. I'm working on like categories and like putting things in different cities, but there is a map. Like, you can easily look at a map and see, okay, zoom in and like click on the things for the day, and it's pretty cool. Yeah, there's different views of the events.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like you can go on there and look at today, you can look at next week and see, you can say, okay, I'm going to have some time off, or what do you want to do right now? Like, do you want to do something tonight? What do you want to do? Yeah.
I mean, if I wanted to do something tonight, I definitely want to see where there's live music with enough room for dancing. So I'd think about the venue and just know whether it has a floor or not, There's a few places where you can kind of dance. Yeah.
Right. So we could look at that website and see where they're having something.
Right.
Because today's Wednesday.
Yeah.
And it's kind of an
Thursday.
Obscure. Oh, it's Thursday.
Yep, yeah. Trash day.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Totally. So, it would show us our options.
Yeah. Are you thinking about expanding, or you're going to keep it simple and just do that?
Oh, yeah. Well, I have the news. Like, I have a lot of news from Oklahoma.
Huh.
I have the weather. I use Weather Underground.
Nice.
Yeah. I feel like I have something else, but like, I just have a lot of pictures from the things that I do, and yeah, so it is bigger than just the events, but it is all events, and I'm on the edge about the news because it's still a lot of negative stuff.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like, that's like,
can shift your brand or make people want to run away.
Yeah, I don't even look at it. I just don't even look at that page, because whenever I do, it's all like a lot of negative stuff. Yeah. Sometimes it's cool though. I have whatisworldpeace.com, and I have the news on there, and I like looking at that news page.
Yeah.
Because it's like happy news.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So whatisworldpeace.com/news.
Nice.
Yes.
In the links.
Yes.
Down below.
Yep.
In the description. So weird doing the hair. Yeah. It's in my socks.
It's in my knee.
It's in her knee. How did you get into like building stuff?
Teaching sailing and building my own canvases for making art.
For making art.
Yeah, I learned at OCU, Oklahoma City University, I learned from Elaine Bidding how to build a canvas out of 2x4s, quarter rounds, and canvas, and painting it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's good for oil.
So that's what your medium was, oil?
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. What did they look like?
My oil paintings?
Yeah.
Well, I have just taken a lot of classes on oil painting, and I can do a lot of different styles.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So you're forging art, and you're making money that way too. You've got a black market.
No.
You're online.
No. I don't. That would be fun, but no, I've never done that.
I thought I was going to get an exclusive. Somebody sold Trump apparently a fake, classic painting, and he showed it off in his plane. And
I sold to Andy Warhol the other day that I was like, yeah, it came from eBay like a few years ago, and I was just like totally upfront about it. I was like, it came in from Poland.
Wow.
It's really cute.
It looks real?
Well, yeah, of course. It looks great.
How do you does it come with a certificate?
No. I was like, I was very like explicit about that.
Oh, okay.
I was like in the description. I was like, well, this is what you're getting.
Yeah.
It was just a piece of paper.
My take on it.
Yeah. Just a drawing. Pretty cool.
That is cool. Mm-hmm. I love that. I don't like lining my walls with printed stuff. I like it to be hand-drawn art or hand-painted, no matter the quality. And increasing quality, I think, the older I've become. Yeah, I'm just not a big fan of that.
Framed.
Yeah, well,
this was framed.
Okay, yeah. And that's expensive, too, when you start getting, like, the acid-free and, the weatherproof kind of preservation framing.
I just get, like, existing frames.
Yeah.
And then make art.
That's the way I don't have the money to do that.
I just manifested into my life.
Yeah.
I just put myself in situations where I end up getting random art. And then I turned it into other art.
Anything you can think of that was a favorite, that you've run across, that you picked up and made your art? Or?
No, because I'm so excited about welding. I've been focusing more lately on getting ready to weld and make junk art. That I haven't been painting as much.
Okay.
And I've been getting my painting space reworked a little bit too.
Okay.
So my energies have been elsewhere, but I've been collecting a lot of that kind of art that I haven't been painting on, and I have a stash of it that one day I'm just gonna start busting out on.
Nice.
Yeah.
But the welding. So there's
the welding's
I know
so
Jack
exciting.
about it. I've just heard words and read words because I'm curious. I want to do it someday. There's TIG and there's MIG and there's the aluminum welding, or maybe one of those does aluminum, but you have to have a specific.
Yeah, it's about heat.
It's about heat. Okay.
Yeah.
And so, what's the difference between the ones that you have to ground? Do you have to ground them all to the metal, all of them, or do some not need the grounding? There's the pole one.
They're the stick ones.
Is that
there's
tungsten or something like that?
There's ones that have a clip on just a stick, and the stick is it looks like a sparkler.
Yeah.
And then that you can just poke around and just
lay out, kind of like solder.
I think it might be called stick welding.
Okay, yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you grind that down and make it all smooth if you want to.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. I like that a lot. That's my favorite. But I do have an aluminum welder.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I do some with that. I like it. I've been borrowing a mask for a while, but I just recently got my own mask.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, masks are important.
Right. Yeah, for sure. No, I always wear a mask, but it was hard because I didn't have my own.
Right. I've spent time off of making wood furniture for, however long it's been since the last May tornado. Fucked up my lungs just doing stuff down there, and it seriously is only within the last year that I feel I can start cutting wood again. So
I love cutting wood.
I've got a nice mask that covers the whole face, because you take off that mask, when you take off the ones that cover just your nose and your mouth, little particles fall in anyway, and you get a little bit of sawdust. Full coverage, no problem.
Yeah.
Just pull that off and breathe.
For sure.
Yeah. The wood things, you see one over there, right? Like in the garden, it's a little monstery thing.
Yeah.
You see a little table, and it's got eyes for, handles look like eyes, and there's like eyelashes that are kind of wood accents and stuff. I used to build big, monstrous cabinets out of like cedar trunks that had decayed or broken apart, and would fabricate new parts for it or whatever, and build these big dumpy monsters. And
very cool.
People would buy them for like gaming cabinets or like liquor cabinets or whatever, just storage. But I think it's about time to get back to it.
Yeah,
I really do want to do
cool.
some metal fabrication.
Yeah,
see what that's like.
Yeah.
Is aluminum expensive? I know you can do foundry stuff where you can like melt it yourself.
Cool.
And
yeah, I haven't done a foundry. There is a foundry in Oklahoma City, but my buddy Paul Bagley had them like throw a piece of his art into it, and he just like totally convinced him to do it. Like they didn't really want to.
They didn't want to.
Yeah, and he was like, "Just trust me, it'll work," and it did.
What happened?
He made these like sculptures of like underwater sea life in aluminum cast.
Okay. Do you mean like, seahorses and stuff, or what do you mean underwater?
Like underwater fossils.
Okay.
What was it he was going after?
Okay.
Yeah, like tiny and like it was like seabed.
Yeah, and so he throws it in. What's he throw in, and what comes out? Or it just melts.
I don't know.
It just turns into.
I don't know what he throws in. I don't know the witchcraft part of that, but yeah, that thing comes out.
Yeah, it is witchcraft.
Yeah.
If you ever want to see, like, you've seen those shows, How Things Are Made and stuff, on cable. They're just like a condensed, like, poppy, informative version of like how things are built in the factory, like when we'd see in the 80s when we were kids. But
you can
on YouTube
build houses
now
with 3D printers.
I've seen that.
That's amazing.
It's freaking cool. Those machines they pull out, it's just a massive version of the
yeah,
table.
you just mount it onto the ground and
it's crazy.
Just
yeah, they're talking about doing that on like the moon and like Mars and stuff. It makes sense. I mean, you can't be exposed to that radiation on Mars.
Right.
You'll die. So you need something.
Right.
One of the cooler things I've seen like that is like this pop-up emergency shelter. One of the cooler things I've seen is this emergency pop-up shelter that's made out of it's like the hose that a fireman has. You know how it's like fabric and it's like compressed when it's you fill it full of water and it turns into the tube, right? Because it's fabricated like a tube, but it's fabric and collapsible. So they fill this full of like cement sawdust. I mean, not sawdust, but cement dust, and you fill it full of water, and it blows up the shape of a home, and it hardens, and then you've got super fast, however long it takes to dry, like a couple days or something, like a day and a half, a day.
The cement?
The cement, yeah, however long it takes. Like, oh, really?
Yeah.
Tells you how much I work with it.
Well, there is versions of it that take 3 days to sell, but there's like newfangled cement that takes an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I imagine these are like extremely heavy, but like think about the durability of like the cloth type integration, then you could just drop a big.
What if you threw a bunch of bottles in there before you put the cement in?
A bunch of bottles in between,
just in the space, and then the cement would encase it.
Well, that's how it works. It's like it's a really thin,
right? Oh yeah,
it fills up full of water, and
so depending
it mixes in there, so it's just a solid wall of.
It's just going to be heavy no matter what.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think being solid is the point. Yeah, instead of having
engineer a bubble.
Yeah. I mean, that's what they were. They were kind of like, they were like big igloos. They showed them. Like, you can look this up online. They're like, they blow up in this like hut type thing. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense for like war-torn nations or like where something, some tragic, has happened, and there's earthquakes or whatever going. There's volcanoes going on in Hawaii. I hope that slows down a little bit. People are losing their homes, but and like in the places with less resources like trees and stuff, or like a lot of wood, lumber, instead like in places that aren't lumber rich, where they do have water. Not everybody has water, but it doesn't matter if it's like potable. You just throw in like wastewater, you pump from a dirty source, into the cement. And you've got really good temporary shelters for people who all of a sudden have no homes.
Right.
And so if you can mass manufacture those, make them affordable, airdrop them with a military grade parachute.
Yeah. So I'm interested in like natural material building for that same reason. Like if you can construct like solid buildings out of what you have around you.
Yeah.
Like you can mix dirt and like straw or grass or brush, whatever, dry, organic. Or it maybe doesn't even have to be dry. I don't know, I haven't done enough with it. But you can just mix the dirt with like plants and like fill that in between like fence panels. Like you can do a double-sided fence.
Right.
Do pretty side on both sides and stuff it with that.
Yeah.
And that's your insulation.
Yeah.
So easy.
Right. That is easy. I saw this really cool article about there's a guy going over to, I don't want to get it wrong, just some small nation in Africa where they had huts that were dealing with earthquakes, and these things would fall apart. It's kind of it's the modernized traditional way that they had built these with like clay or whatever. And they had gone out there to experiment a little bit, and they reinforced them with like, I think, chicken wire or something like that. But they wanted to keep everything local, or at least as much as possible. And they finally, after the study ended, concluded they could just put a band around the middle, just like cinching up a belt around your waist, and it would shore it up enough, just like the technology they already had in place. They were like, no, just shore it up in the middle, and it's done.
Strap it. Strap it up.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
What are some of the other things you've learned about science-wise? Anything about space, planets?
Oh, I try to stay out of all that.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I was a counselor at space camp when I was a kid. I was a cadet, and then I became a counselor at space camp.
I just think, my view on, like, space is, like, I think we, like, shouldn't keep all of our eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
And then, like, Earth is the basket.
Right. No, I totally
Because humans
agree.
are pretty cool. Like, despite a lot of stuff, like, we're pretty amazing. Like, my friends, like, a lot of us have, like, world peace values. I do, you do. So, like, what if, like, we just went somewhere else?
Right.
Like, I feel like we wouldn't fuck it up that bad.
Oh, wait, are you starting a cult? Where
No,
we're
I'm
all
not
getting
trying to start anything, but, like...
I'm in.
Like, cool. But, like, just a general thing.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's thought about going to space.
Sure, yeah,
right?
but I mean, this is one of my interests, of course, and so I've gotten to the point where I'm like, well, you've got to find an Earth-sized planet or something that has the density that gives you the specific gravity that we're used to. Otherwise, everybody's just going to be pissed off and murderous because they're always aching, or like, the things you're used to.
They
like
found like a bunch of them. There's other.
Oh yeah, there's tons of.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, there's tons of planets with the
What
like
I would do
moons and
is
water
send
now.
bees there first.
What's that?
I would send bees there.
Bees.
Yeah, they would pollinate.
Yeah.
And then we would eat it and be like.
Well, but you got to send
allergies.
seeds and stuff there too, and make sure. I mean.
Right, but like to acclimate our bodies to that Earth's.
God, you're going to go down in universal history as the biggest dick in the world to bring allergies to the only other habitable planets. We're going to be like, everybody with allergies, fuck you. We're making sure every planet we live on has allergies first.
What if it's like this beautiful, lush place that like has no life?
What if it just has like these weird
Other than,
sandworms, and that's all that's there, and it's delicious?
Us.
And what if what if we fuck it up by putting plants on there and getting allergies? We could have had an allergy-free. There'd just be barbecue grills and these worms,
just eat
and that's
what's
it.
There.
Well, that's what I'm saying. What if that's all that is? I'd be fine with that. Would you forgo plants if we had this nutritious big sandworm that gave you everything? It was the healthiest thing ever. Better than eating kale. Gave you protein and everything too. I told you this exists there. We can't bring plants.
Yeah, I mean, we would have to like do this for the sake of mankind, because like an asteroid or whatever could just hit the Earth at any point in time.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no,
save the humans.
I definitely think that the species needs to continue. I know that we have our fair share of assholes, and I've been an asshole at a party or two for sure. But I do think
that doesn't trump the fact of like all this evolution that we've had, and like You know what? A fresh start with some good people would be pretty good for our race.
I don't have the positive outlook on it being a fresh start that you do. I think that people would still drag their drama. There'd be Bravo Network up there in the first day.
I would hope not.
No, it's
not in my second Earth.
That means you need to screen everybody. You need like some sort of process that you put them through so that you find out, like, do you watch cable TV? Which channels? You're gonna dig way down into all of their bits and pieces. Are you ready for that? Are you ready to have?
I'm not really trying to do that. It's just a theory that I abide by. I don't really want to do that.
I would.
I don't want to spearhead that whole thing.
You know what? If I happen upon a few $1 billion, I will help you achieve that dream.
High five.
Yeah. I feel like we could at that point buy one of Bezos and like a Virgin, those guys, and
Spaceships.
Elon Musk's. Yeah, like we could buy their old used, their clunkers, their first generation stuff.
Yeah, totally.
Eventually, people stop making parts for them, and
right. So, did we talk about the hotel in space?
Yeah, I don't know if that was on the podcast. I think
we did.
We did talk about hotels in space. Yeah,
that was weird.
I mean, you didn't know there was that? Yeah, you didn't know.
No, I don't watch media or TV or anything.
Right. No, I'm a junkie for that stuff. Man, the hotels in space, like, I think that's the coolest thing ever. You have no. You would go up there and like peer down the Earth?
probably wouldn't. I probably wouldn't be into that just for that. Just for like a tourist thing. No, because it doesn't seem like it would be great for my body.
No.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. I don't want to hurt. I don't want to.
Well, you would grow taller. My spine,
really?
like as an old man, hurts a little bit. Yeah, you extend out. The gravity and being, perpendicular to.
If it's healthy, if it's a health benefit, then sure, I might go.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could write that off. We could probably get your insurance to at least review it. I'm sure they'd reject it, but you'd have a good reason to like sue the shit out of them and be like, look, go into space and extending my spine.
I'm not trying to sue anything. I just don't want to not be healthy.
Like, I'm trying to fund your second trip here. You're not helping me out. This is the world we live in.
I'll
now.
make a website for all the events in space.
That would be awesome.
Yes.
Well, you could also list the events that are going on right below you as you pass over them, since you're in space and you're looking down.
Weird.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's a whole different button.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah?
Cool.
You like that idea?
Yeah.
All right. Well,
weird.
If you need weird
satellite
new ideas.
Things.
You need to rent some satellite data.
It would be a satellite.
Well, it would be
Just plug into it while I'm up there.
The hotel in space. It would have its own,
Plugs.
Hopefully they'd tell people where their loved ones are, They wouldn't be a secret location, like they blindfold you and they ship you up into space. They're like, you can't know.
Consensual.
I think when you look down, you'd kind of figure out.
I think it would totally have to be consensual.
Oh, yeah. No, there's, eventually there's going to be that type of space tourism too. They're going to, at first you just get the polite hotels, put up and everything. It's like anything else. I mean, there's already been kind of the wild, wild west up there. Like they shot dogs and froze them to death. And
people get taken by aliens.
The Russians actually had guns and poison capsules in their capsules and stuff, like just in case.
Well, sure. Yeah, of course. What if aliens come and attack you?
Right. I mean, if those fuckers come in, we're taking everybody out.
Defend yourself.
I'm just wondering, like, the thought process behind putting physical projectile,
does that even work?
Well, yeah, because you've encapsulated the black powder has all of the elements necessary to fire if you're in a vacuum or whatever. But if something's like made its way light years to Earth, like we can't see any civilizations around here, and so they're probably a few light years away. If they have the technology or the longevity to get here, like your little gun is already going to be an issue they've solved.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Good point.
Might as well just go for the poison capsule.
Right.
Put it in your mouth. In that nightmare, they're coming to Earth. We would get invaded. That would be. What do you think they would? Do you think they'd just kind of improve our Google algorithms, or teach us how to farm a little better?
Exactly.
They're like, you guys have been making fire all wrong. This is what it's supposed to do, and all of a sudden it's like rainbowy or something like that.
Well, I don't know of any evidence of them causing harm yet.
Yeah.
And whatever evidence we may or may not have is that they gave us technology.
Right. So you're a believer that we have been visited and they
I'm not a
have
believer, but like if we
influenced us.
have, like it's neither here nor there for me. I'm not really like, I'm just whatever, but like if they have, the evidence that I know of is all pretty positive, where they were giving us technology and like helping us out and like telling us cool things.
Yeah, but what if these crop circles are really just like dick pics and pics of their butts, and they're like, it's trying to be offensive, this is what their genitals look like, and they're like basically flipping you the bird. That is their version of the bird. They're drawing their dicks.
Is it like they're being
crops.
comedians? Are they being funny? Or are they like...
I think that's kind of just the
malicious.
It's like the beta alpha guy, the guy who pretends he's an alpha, but like is truly inside the beta, and he like it's the brosif, like syndrome, where you're like, come at me. Good thing my friends are holding me back, like they're all in the ship, like drawing dick pics and drawing.
I'm just an
butthole pics
optimist.
and-
I think they're nice. Yeah, I think everything's gonna be nice.
I don't know. I mean, like, I feel like that's kind of like my childhood naivety. I'm not calling you naive. I'm just saying when I would look out into nature, I wouldn't immediately think that snake is going to kill me, or that deer might give me fleas that gives me the plague, or ticks or that give me the bullet spot disease.
Right.
These things were not like fears that were in my mind, and I feel like that would kind of come around the same way.
When I have fears, I started doing this a while ago. When I started having fears, I would just be like, I would change my mind to just like safely and happily going to sleep that night.
So you focus on putting yourself to bed nicely.
Day. Yeah, like getting through the day, like having it all done with, like no matter what situation I'm at, I'm gonna get through it and get to bed.
Nice.
At the end of the day.
That's a good positive affirmation.
Yeah, because like it's like at the end of the day, like you're done with the day, you know, so like you got home, like you're safe.
So here's the medical device I just conceptualized.
Okay.
I'm forgetful.
Okay.
Very. It has a lot to do with like, some concussions in sports and just like
football?
Living life. Yeah, football and wrestling. Living life after that as a rock and roll punk rocker, programmer, artist dude. Has certainly not helped a whole lot. But
you're pretty hardcore.
Those daily affirmations, like training myself to become a different person at this age or at the place I'm in now, a little bit difficult. I try and I try and improve. I work on things. What I need, a little medical assist device, is like one of those little Harry Potter ball drone things. And instead of taking selfies, it's just going to pull out a little like Post-it note, put it in front of me, and it's like, you are loved. Just think about sleeping well. Just like it senses your panic. It sees you getting nervous. It notices your habits being, it's like a service dog.
It's like what you're supposed to do in your mind. Yourself.
Yeah. And it just reminds, a little reminder. It's like, this doesn't store in your brain anymore well. And it just comes over and it goes, hey, And you can program it, or your doctor can, or you can both work on it or whatever.
It would just have to like be hooked into your body.
Oh, I think it should fly around like a friend. They find that like the old people relate to robots like just as well. They know they're robots, and they become friends with them, and it helps them. I'm
aware of all this.
Oh, it's like Japan, and they're doing studies in other places now where they, become depressed, and they'll deal with like people with dementia and just people who are aging out and stuff. And depression's a big deal, and so they give them a robot, and like I'm laughing, because I think it's adorable. I love it. I would totally have my robot pet. That would be my best friend. It really would. Like,
it's clean.
Let's scroll porn together. You stay on your side. I'm not into that. And so, I would totally have my robot friend and fall in love and care about its birthdays and,
Then we get into like marrying, like, inanimate objects.
Yeah, I'm not into it. I don't, I'm not going to be one of the android...
But it could be taken that far with it.
But this is where my mind goes. I'm just panic driven all the time about all political chaos and everything. Right. Immediately my mind goes to once you get people who fall in love with the robots and have sex with, and this was implied in the new Han movie. Lando was apparently in a relationship, willingly or not, with his co-pilot, and it was kind of a big to-do on the internet and stuff. But my issue, well, if they have artificial intelligence and they identify as a female, maybe it makes sense that I could somehow fall in love with one. But I can't conceive of there really being a real... Seeing it in the movies isn't enough to convince my brain that this thing is a real living thing.
Right.
So I'm going to be against it, and I'm going to think of at least some of the first adopters until I learn I'm wrong. This is where I'm going, until I learn I'm wrong. There's going to be this faction of the people who admonish those who have sex with robots and demonize them. And then they're going to be all like, why don't you just understand us and, be open and, So I can already tell.
There's always two sides to the story.
It's true. Yeah, robots. I'm just not.
It's gonna be just weird when we get there to that point, when that's a conversation, like, prolifically.
Yeah. No, it's gonna be creepy. I'm always gonna be creeped out by it.
I don't want to.
You see those photos of guys pushing dolls through the stores and having dates with them and stuff. There's a few out there.
Okay.
I'm not kink shaming. I think what you have to do to feel natural and loved and good with yourself, as long as it's healthy for everybody and everybody's consenting adults. I'm sure she gave consent, the Dolly.
Right.
I think
she totally gave consent.
I think the $10,000 that he paid for it is an implied consent.
Right. Well, no.
No. Well, okay. All right. What are the politics of this? I'm definitely not informed on where this needs to sit in the pissing off sectors of.
Is kind of similar to the orange tree that we were talking about.
Okay.
Right?
A little bit.
Yeah,
it is. It's an inanimate thing that all of a sudden.
The orange tree is a little more alive, but they talk just as much.
Yeah, gosh,
they have just as much of a.
But what happens when you?
The tree has a little more of a language.
The skin, I'm sure, is something like silicone. Silicon is what's in computers. Silicone is the hot, rubbery stuff.
Okay.
What happens when you have skin that they develop? Those big, android pushers that are going to bring us robot sex. What happens when they develop skin that is self-healing because that product sells better and lasts longer and it feels better, it's softer, let's say.
Than our own skin?
Whatever, maybe. Yeah, because doesn't
put a little patch of it on? No,
they'll cover the whole robot with this living organic skin that regenerates when it gets damaged. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of living. It's got little things that once it gets severed and oxygenated, cultures, come alive and repair and then go back dormant.
Like Olga boards.
What is an Olga board?
It's like a cutting board for cutting paper with X-Acto knives.
Really?
And just making cuts on cutting through paper.
See, this is why I needed to go to art school to learn about all these cool little tools.
Oh yeah, they're pretty cool. So it's self-healing.
Okay, is this the green rubbery thing that has the grids on it? Mm-hmm. Okay, I bought it. I just didn't know.
There's that, but most of them are the original ones are they're like a manila color, but lighter than yellow. Okay. They're like skin color.
Right.
That's probably what a more evolved version of that is sounds like what you're talking about. So
you think we should talk to those companies about covering sex dolls, perhaps?
I guess.
Soften it up.
Yeah, soften it up a little. How did we start talking about sex dolls?
How did we start talking about sex dolls?
Sure. Sex robots.
Yeah. Oh, I had the droid. No, I had the wrist droid that just gives me friendly post-it notes,
Oh, right.
It's
and then that somehow turned into a sex robot.
Yeah, of course. I'm going to take everything to...
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we have to give them content.
Okay.
And me pushing things to even odd logical extremes, it's going to be good for content.
Cool.
I hope. We probably just lost about 3 or 5 listeners.
No, we may have gained some. It's cool.
Yeah. All right. So, may we talk about sex?
Sure.
Okay. So, it doesn't have to be about your sex. It doesn't have to be sex that you have.
What do you have in mind?
Do you think it's changed, in your lifetime? Do you think, the perception of sex or, how it how it's actually executed like has changed?
Oh, with the internet, definitely. With Craigslist and with, like, Tinder has totally changed things.
Oh, yeah.
It's definitely amped it up.
Okay.
It's consensual. But I don't know, maybe are we so into what's trending that it's not consensual because we're not thinking clearly, because we're being so heavily influenced to do what's trending on our phones.
Right.
We're being controlled by our phones.
Everybody has to have that app.
So we're just using the app, and the app is telling us to have sex.
Right. It's definitely telling you to have sex.
Yeah. Right.
I don't think the connection rate is as high as most people who don't use Tinder envision it to be. I don't think it's like, and I know it is for some people. Some people can definitely just swipe right and meet somebody in a bar that night, and that's not a big deal. But I think there's a lot of people who don't have the right profile pics or personality or maturity level to, like, you know, match with, you know, somebody every night. And I think for some of those Tinder people, they'll tell you that it's just like dating, where there's a lot of like hopes brought up and then they get shattered through shitty jokes maybe delivered, or you know, conversation just doesn't go right or whatever. There's definitely the pretty people. Pretty people can probably do a lot more
right, but
matching.
Then you go back to like the whole like picture editing thing where people do that.
Yep.
Catfishes and
catfishes. Have you been catfished?
Probably. Yeah.
And what happened?
I just was, you know, talking to people. I never got like too serious. But people lying to me about who they were.
I think it happened a lot when I was a kid on the internet.
And I just lose interest when people just start bragging. And it's like, no, it's like whatever. Like,
yeah. Yeah, so when you're on a date and we're going to do some relationship. This is the part of our show where we talk about relationship advice.
Okay. Cool.
It's really just I'm trying to figure out how to relate to people socially. When you're meeting somebody new, what's the line between bragging and talking about yourself?
Right.
What's the difference?
Organic conversation.
Okay.
If it comes up.
Not forced. You're not sitting there giving a list of things.
Like, by the way, I have a bunch of worms.
The camera unfortunately ran out of film or storage, but this little move she just made was the perfect shitty dude trying to buy you a drink at the bar, schmarmy forward swoop. I don't know how to.
Right, thank you.
It's like a dance move.
Thank you.
It's awesome. You've seen that a time or two?
Oh yeah.
I can't even do it.
Oh yeah. I got worms.
I got worms. Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, what kind? I think we need to discuss that first.
Red wigglers.
They're
European.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is that the one that all the fishermen are like, this is the best
for? The best worm.
That's the best worm?
We got the best worms over here.
I think you've had your logo, your slogan.
The best worms.
You said you do have a website for that?
No.
No?
That topic was a little inundated.
Yeah, it's a
little saturated. Saturated market.
I still think I'd like to see your logos and your happy little...
And I don't want to ship worms.
Okay.
I just, Facebook won't actually let me sell them on the marketplace.
What? Because it's living. You can't sell living things? No? Wait.
You can't sell animals.
Okay.
I don't know if worms are animals.
I mean, you might be able to contest that somehow. You're ready to take a lawyer against... Let's see if the ACLU...
I'm not trying to get a lawyer for it.
I think I could... I'll ask around and see if we can find an ACLU lawyer who wants to take it up for you. All you have to do is sign like a document or two. Maybe show up at one hearing and just talk about worms and how they eat each other and have homes and go out into the yard and live lives and come back and...
make great soil.
Imbue some humanity on them, and people will empathize.
Right, like worms are so good for plants, and you eat plants. Plants keep you alive. They make your air. So if you want to live better, let the worms thrive. It's gonna be hard to kill off the worms. They'll be like the last things to live on the earth.
No shit. You really think so?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why would cockroaches die before worms?
Things being smashed.
Things being smashed.
Everything being smashed.
It'd be cooler in the earth than in the air where the cockroaches live.
I mean, if it's a matter of like extreme heat or extreme cold, everything's gonna die.
Everything will fucking go away.
Maybe. I don't know.
This is the reason I'm confounded by climate change deniers or climate change fence sitters.
Okay, so my deal is there's just so many things that could go wrong with the earth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That, I just don't really focus on any of them, and I'm like, statistically, something's gonna get fucked.
Definitely. Have you seen the size of the craters? Like, looked at a map and seen the size of the craters of things that have hit the earth?
Yeah.
There's still stuff out there like that. There's still stuff flying around.
Oh, there's tons of it.
Yeah.
And it's like minutes away.
Right.
It could be traveling so fast that we don't even notice it.
Yeah, they constantly pick up stuff on telescopes where they're like, we didn't know that was coming, and it just flew by pretty close. Yeah, that happens all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I love that stuff, though. I mean, I don't try to panic about all the things that could go wrong, but it is worth noting that it is so sensitive a system that if something goes out of balance, we don't think things can change to be in a deadly situation for a long time. We have historical proof that at periods during the Earth's development, the airs were acidic and unlivable, and trees grew and changed the soil, which allowed, other things that, need that biodiversity, that cycle, were able to grow, and it changed the air and the way the water flows. And the animals do the same thing. They introduced wolves into Yellowstone, and it changed the shape of the river because of the biodiversity that they brought back by killing things and all that.
So at Yellowstone, the river has moved.
Yeah, because of wolves.
Again, because of a bulge.
Oh, yeah, that thing's super scary. Talk about scary things. If that super volcano goes off, we're all toast.
We're all covered in ash.
Yeah.
The other side of the world is like at least a foot of ash.
Yeah, that's
15
crazy.
Maybe.
Right. The initial ash, and not just the continuing stuff, from what I read in an article, will cover like half, 3/4, something like that, sweeping southeast, and like the only thing that would basically be spared would be the very southeast, like Florida and shit. I would hate for Florida to be the only thing that survives.
It wouldn't survive. It would just be too much.
Winter, that forever winter, and the gases and all of the biodiversity chains dropping.
Bye.
Yeah. What do you think do you think bugs would be the only thing, like us in caves and bugs and air purification systems and reinventing grids? Do you think you could?
I think it's all gone. I don't think anything survives that.
I think we could Mad Max it. I think there could be a couple left that
were in storage or in the shelters.
Yeah, I think
people in shelters
in the right areas. Yeah,
if they're already in them. See, they have to know. And something like that is instant.
Sure, no, I know. And getting, if you were in the southeast, you'd get a little bit advanced warning.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Like power grids and stuff would start to choke up and crash, and planes would go down. The volume of news would just be insurmountable. You couldn't weed through. There'd just be chaos. Everything would be falling down, setting on fire. Like water's being spoiled. It would, over the next few weeks, disease would increase. You just couldn't follow the sheer volume of information.
I think it would just everything would stop
immediately.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I
think it would be horrible, painful, and slow.
No, it would be instant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hot ash, deep everywhere.
Yeah, that doesn't sound fun.
No, it would just kill everything. Unless you're in a really good shelter.
There were dinosaurs who survived some of the impacts. There were different size impacts that did the same thing, where it shot up this lavaed rock from the mantle below or whatever. Mantle? No, not the mantle. I don't know. Anyway, and it would boil off all of the water where it hit or whatever, like instantaneously, and there would be earthquakes, and that I'm sure causes more heat. The winds from it are just like super duper hot, like like melt everything hot. But there were some dinosaurs who survived some of these impacts because there were multiple impacts, and then there's fossils that come after them. So,
well, it doesn't sound like the whole Earth was covered in it.
Yeah,
see, we're talking about different things.
That's true.
Where in this situation, everything would be covered in hot ash.
Well,
what within the day.
What if we just all agreed to go outside and vacuum all at once?
Yes, that would work. Would absolutely work. Turn your vacuums on.
Turn your fans towards the sky to blow away the ash that you can, and then use the vacuum to suck up the ash that you can't.
I love it.
That's along the lines of...
I'll put an alert on Live and OK.
It's the last thing you'll do?
PSA, yeah. Yep.
That's how you want to go down, is posting an update?
Yes.
Strangely, I understand that thought.
No, there just wouldn't be time. It would just be instant.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think that's what's going to happen.
Like Pompeii.
Yeah, it would be just like that. And it would be well preserved.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. It's hot volcanic ash, so it'd probably be melted.
And some alien race is going to come down and chip us out of these cool formations and put us in their living rooms while they watch Bravo.
Right. There's going to be a lot of good art.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Nice.
But they will still have Bravo because we're shooting everything out into space. So...
Okay.
With sufficient technology, you could get satellites at a specific distance.
But
and
who's going to be running the Bravo?
No, it doesn't. You don't have to. It's already shooting out there because the radio waves are being broadcast. They shoot out into space.
But who's operating it? Who's making the TV show go on?
It's just old ones. They're just watching reruns. They find out that we broadcast this stuff, and they're like, "Crap, we came in on season 3. They need season 1 and 2," and so they send satellites at speed faster than light, and then they get ahead of season 1 and 2 that's emanating out into space, and then they capture that, and then they DVR. It's a DVR.
So our Earth is constantly radiating all these seasons of old episodes of TV?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, that's always been happening ever since we had black and white TV and everything. I Love Lucy is shooting out there.
Constantly. Oh my gosh.
Absolutely. Well, you can take solace in the fact that out there are clouds of gas, more like dust particles and some gas and stuff.
This isn't going to go out in space, is it?
What's that?
Is this going to go out into space, this podcast?
I mean, if somebody decides to broadcast this over radio, I guess, the Wi-Fi is a radio signal. Yeah. It's just a little weak and stuff. So there's, it'll go out sort of into space. But I know.
Okay.
Yeah. One day somebody's probably going to build an old-timey radio and just broadcast podcasts from the golden years of 2005 to 2020 or whatever, whenever podcasts stopped.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
I got some CB radios.
You got CB radios? Do you fix them?
AM radios.
Do you fix them or just use them?
No, I use them. I want to use them in art. I just got them the other day, but I also have the antique booth, so I'm putting some in there.
The antique booth.
I have an antique booth.
Jesus, what do you not do? Can you just list the things? The next podcast, she's just going to list what she does not do.
Yeah. So I work for my mom's company doing estate sales.
Yep.
Did we talk about that?
We talked about that.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that you have the antique booth.
Because I find good stuff that, I'll buy all the good stuff after they didn't sell in the estate sales. It's a really good deal for everyone. Mm-hmm. And it's pretty awesome.
Wow.
So, and I like it. Like, I've kind of always dreamed of having my own antique booth, and this just happened.
You know what I want?
What?
I want skates from the 80s or 90s.
Okay.
You go to rent them. No.
Oh, the four next to each other?
Yes, the 4 next to each other. But specifically the ones that you could find at,
skate rinks.
Skate rinks. Yeah, that's got to be out there.
Yeah, totally.
So if you run across size 10. Okay. Easy round number. Just the big 10. You find those, I'll buy them from you. I'll get you a profit.
Okay. Once I had on my resume good at moving large, awkward things.
That's a good selling point.
Yeah, and backing up trailers.
And backing up hey, actually, in Oklahoma, well,
right?
I guess basically anywhere, that's going to be super useful.
Right.
That's probably the first test they give you when you... Have you ever driven forklifts, or you, like... It sounds like you do everything.
No,
you have a
I
license
don't
to do that?
I have a picture of me on a forklift in Japan.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
And why did you go to a forklift in Japan?
I was just taking a tour of a factory.
Like you do?
Yeah. And they were like, I don't know, I guess I was like, can I get on that forklift? And they were like, yeah, so I did.
Wow, I gotta try that sometime. Just fly to a random country and hop on their machinery.
Totally.
That's actually a great way to get killed in Oklahoma. People try to ride those stupid oil rigs and fucking die.
No. Right. Yeah, looking back on it, 16-year-old exchange student hopping on your forklift.
Oh, those things are expensive.
Yeah.
And it would have murdered you if something bad would have happened.
I don't think it had the keys in it.
Ah, well, that's when they're more dangerous. They're angry.
Oh, yeah.
No,
okay.
they're happiest when they have their keys in them. Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
They get even angrier when you put the seatbelt on, I've found. Yeah, they go super fast and do lots of quick turns. Now, everybody who does those in the warehouses, in my experience here in Oklahoma that I've known, everybody who drives all those little, golf carts at Hobby Lobby or like the forklifts and stuff, they're madmen. These are the people I would not want driving these. They brag about how they love taking the
skid steers. Yeah. I've seen crazy people driving skid steers like in the mud.
What is
like
this?
They're on the job, like working at...
You mean skidding, like doing...
Yeah, like at landscaping places.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. See, we need to regulate all this.
Oh, my gosh. I remember one time my mom had just gotten this, new Mercedes.
Mm-hmm.
And, I was running a different errand, probably for the car. And just I was like, okay, I'm gonna run and get this other thing for my garden.
Yeah.
I didn't realize I would have I'd never been to this place, and they were like, okay, drive around to the back, and I drove on this dirt road to get back there,
yeah.
And then this dude is skid steering all over the place, and I'm
God.
oh my gosh, I wasn't supposed to do this. My mom's gonna kill me.
Oh no.
She's gonna be so mad. This is our new car.
So did you ever get in trouble like that?
No.
Well, any other time. Did you ever
No, not really.
No. Good kid?
Yeah. I snuck out with my brother and my friend, and my brother told my parents while we were out, he called them, and so I got in a lot of trouble.
Uh-huh.
But other than that, oh, and I had a big party in high school.
Oh.
I was uninvited to prom. I couldn't go to prom.
They kept you from prom for that?
Junior year? Yeah. Mm-hmm. That was
Oh.
a lot ago.
My God.
Yeah.
Did you sneak out to prom?
No.
Oh, you learned your lesson.
Yeah.
Punishment works on you.
I guess, I don't know.
It's not worth the risk. It's just
I really honestly couldn't tell you if I snuck out during prom.
Yeah.
I probably just went out.
Yeah.
My parents probably just let me.
I didn't go to proms.
I didn't have to sneak out to I actually went street racing sometimes. I started sneaking out a couple times, boy from my class invited me to go street racing, and we went at 2 a.m.
Oh my God.
or 3 a.m. We went out really late.
Yeah. So he had the ends on the secret street racing strip.
I don't know. I didn't know exactly what was going on.
Oh my God.
But it was pretty wild.
And you loved it.
Yeah.
You're smiling now.
Yeah. No, it was a lot of fun. For sure.
Do you remember if anybody won, or was it just you hanging out, chatting with everybody?
Yeah, no, he won some things.
Oh, he raced.
Yeah, no, we raced. It was pretty it seemed pretty amateur. You just kind of say, hey, you want to race?
Did he have a souped up car?
Yeah.
So okay, so
yeah, so you look for other souped up cars in this area, and then you're like, hey, like there's some signals that
gotcha.
yeah,
little flashes or hand signals, or
right.
you roll the window up and down 9 times and turn on the cat.
Exactly. That's what it is. You got it. Have you been a street racer before?
No, I'm not really that kind of daredevil. I rode a motorcycle when I was younger, and I've owned a couple, but man, I was in my first year or two of owning it, riding from work to home, and it started raining really bad in Oklahoma, the worst downpour kind of way. It was going sideways. The water felt like knives in my skin, and the oil, it hadn't rained in a long time, and my bike just slipped on the highway, not fully at speed because I was slowing down because the water was coming so fast, but
sure.
It went down anyway, and so did I. My backpack and my helmet saved me. But that's come talk to Jesus time when you're like, vehicles are dangerous. I won't live forever. Racing maybe isn't the way I want to go.
right. Yeah, no, I just did that a couple times after being invited. It was just like a kind of tester out kind of thing.
You were almost down
dabble in everything,
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
You kind of downplay you're like, no, I'm not naughty. I'm good. I didn't go. Yeah, I didn't get. I think you just don't get caught at anything. You try everything and don't get caught.
Right. Yeah.
Does that describe you? It looks like it does.
Yes, totally.
All right. Well, on that note, tell everybody who you are.
I am Mary Donnelly with Live and OK.
I am Anthony Pego.
Boost Science.
Boost Science. We're going to throw some links down below. Thank you for coming out. We appreciate you listening.
Thank you.